Joining us now on Sports Talk ATL, Big Low Country. 4-2, 3 straight wins against the NFC South. Who would have thought it? Who would have thought it after starting 1-2? Who would have thought it after starting 0-1? Raheem Morris and the way the Falcons are winning. Big Low, we talked last week about taking care of business against the Panthers and not letting them hang around. We let them hang around for a little bit. At the end of the game, Tyler Algier, Bijan Robinson took the game over, did what you're supposed to do against a weak rush defense, and the Falcons win by 18.
There you go, man. Mama Country always said you never supposed to play with your food. She said it. You're supposed to eat your food, bro. You don't play with it. Ain't playing no game. Clean that plate.
And how about our dog Kyle Pitts, back-to-back 70-yard reception games? I think is he 5th or 8th or something now in the league for receiving yards for a tight ends? Or are we starting to see him turn the corner here? You know, there was that one lazy route we saw going into the end zone where Kirk Cousins trusted him, but overall it seems like Zach Robinson is really figuring out how to use all of these pieces.
Yeah. Yes, it's a beautiful thing, and it's like, I don't know if y'all noticed. They said he's the only tight end in the NFL right now to have 50+ yard receptions or more. So that's, I mean, that's pretty good. That's what we imagine Kyle Pitts being. And yeah, man, I mean, Zach Robinson, he's slowly putting it together.
Yeah, I mean, you got a Ferrari in the garage, let him get out of first gear once in a while. The 5-yard slants are fun and all, but that boy can burn. Let him run past that cornerback, throw it up to him. Big Draco, Drake London is officially, I mean, he's a top 10 he's a top 10 wide receiver in receptions, yards, and touchdowns. I mean, if that's not a top 10 receiver, I don't know what is. I'm excited to see that. I'm excited for his future. And I still don't think he's really, broken through in terms of that game where everybody is like, and the entire NFL is like, all right, damn, that boy Drake London bad.
Hey, man, look, I'm at the point right now where it's like, I don't know if y'all watch NFL Network. We're starting to get a little bit of buzz, and a few more people are starting to talk about it. I want them to keep sleeping. Give them some Benadryl, give them some NyQuil, some melatonin. I want them to stay asleep. I want them to sleep on us like we playing in our jammies.
Listen, while I agree with you to a certain extent, I'll explain both sides. For my entertainment purposes, I want to see people talking about the Falcons. I want to see the biggest names in the game talking about. I want to see Stephen A. talking about the Falcons. I want to see Shannon Sharp talking about the Falcons. Colin Cowherd. I want to see the guys talking about the Falcons. But I've been thinking about this all week, where it's like, we win again. We're 5-2. 4-0 in the NFC. Somebody needs to go into the locker room and give them a dose of Kirby Smart or Nick Saban and be like, hey, you guys aren't that good. So I hear what you're saying. Like, hey, guys, you aren't that good. Stay hungry. So I get that to a certain extent. But like entertainment purposes, I like people talking about us. I like being in the news a little bit. I just hope the players don't see it, think their poop don't stink. And
well, that's where we talked about it going into me and you, Big Low, talking about the Panthers game. Don't go in there with thinking your poop don't stink. And it seems like maybe they started off a little sluggish, but at the end of the day, they did what they had to do. I mean, they run the hell on the ball. One guy that I want to mention, I got to bring him up, right? I don't think we brought him up on any of these shows, right? Like, we've talked about all of these acquisitions that Terry Fontenot has made, from Darnell Mooney to David Onyemata, Kaden Ellis. How about Charlie Warner? Like, a guy that absolutely nobody was talking about. I mean, I think he got signed the same day as Kirk Cousins. Like, it was all that big group of guys. How about him? I mean, he's had a huge impact on the running game, and it seems like wherever he's going, that's where they're running.
Yes, sir. They say he's the best blocking tight end in the league right now. So, look, I mean, I don't know if y'all had a chance. I don't know if y'all seen on X where Dan Orlowski was talking about how he's coming in, and he actually retweeted me because I said, well, it basically looks like an inverted wham. He's coming in motion and hitting that defensive tackle and that 3 technique and just clearing out holes. You give Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier that kind of room, man, it's GG's after that. I mean, he's killing it. He's killing it. Yeah,
I mean, as far as offensively, everything's clicking. That week 1 showing, I think you'd be a liar if you weren't worried about that week 1 showing against the Steelers. I mean, I call it like I see it. If you had faith, I don't believe you. Either blind faith or you're a liar. after week 1 and a little bit of, 3/4 of week 2 against the Eagles, this offense is a top 10 offense in football in both facets, passing, running. And this is what we imagined. I'm sure this is what Terry Fontenot's probably imagined. Arthur Smith's probably in Pittsburgh. I know he's got his own thing he's focused on there, where he's like, I was trying to do that. I was trying to do all those things, and we just didn't have a quarterback to do it. I truly do believe that Kirk Cousins, Z-Rob has been unbelievable for the Falcons. I think he's well on his way to being one of the hottest offensive coordinators in the league. And then eventually, he'll move on from us and be a head coach, hopefully no time soon. But Kirk Cousins is the key. I mean, Kirk Cousins has been playing absolutely unbelievable ball. I think other than, that 7 quarters in week 1 and week 2, he's been a top 10 quarterback, arguably top 5, and we're still only 6 games into this thing. Like, Zach Robinson's figuring out, Kirk Cousins figuring out, and we're 6 games into it. We're not even halfway through the season. Imagine what kind of ball we're going to be playing at the end of the season. Like,
especially that defense continues to improve, because I know everybody's worried about it. I know we're last in the league in sacks, but I feel like everybody's wondering, is it the Jimmys and Joes or the X's and O's? I feel like it's a little bit of a combination. Offense is looking great.
Yeah.
But that defense continues to do what it needs to do, fellas. We're going to continue to stack these wins. That's what we got to do, Mo. We got to stack these dubs.
AJ Terrell got his first interception. That was good to see.
Yeah.
It's been a while. Well, it's 37 games without an interception, and he was getting cooked there for Deontay Johnson. I mean, I was not shy on Twitter being like, "Hey, are we on fraud watch here a little bit with AJ Terrell?" But he must have read the tweets at halftime that everybody was saying, because he comes up with really what was the game-changing interception and kind of sealed that game for the Falcons. Speaking of that defense, I know we touched on it a little bit last week, but it's been a hot conversation that we've talked about this week. They got to add to the pass rush, right? Like that is something that has to happen. I know we say X's and O's, and I do think Caden Ellis getting in the mix more when the other linebackers are healthy. And there's ways they can improve, but it just seems like it's not going to be enough. If you want to be a real contender, like I think we all believe the Falcons have an opportunity to do, they've got to bring in something externally to really juice this pass rush. And I'm not saying Max Crosby, I'm not saying Myles Garrett, but we got to keep adding to this group, because Lorenzo Carter, Arnold Ebiketie, the rookies, they just haven't added anything to this team this year.
I mean, yeah, I completely agree with you. But I do think I feel like it's a situation where Coach Jimmy Lake is just being conservative. You look at, the cover 3 shell that he ran in Washington and pretty much everywhere else that he was at. It's very reminiscent of Mike Smith's Atlanta Falcons defense that we were running. The fact of the matter is, I don't know if y'all remember Brian Van Gorder and all those guys, and basically just giving up short throws, and we come up and tackle. You're not going to get sacks if the quarterback is throwing the ball in 1.5 seconds or less, because he knows where the ball is going. So after me as a defensive line guy myself, if I know he's going to be throwing it in a split second, I'm not going to rush as hard as I normally do. It's just like a wide receiver who knows the ball's not coming to him. So that's why you're seeing so many tip passes, and we're getting our hands up a lot, but they know where the ball is going. So we're not going to have a chance to get to him as much as we normally would.
And that's the coach in Big Low. That's why we have you on, man. That's why we have you on. See, we can't, what you need. We can't break it down like that, Big Low. That's why we have you on.
Need in that cover 3 shell that you mentioned is cornerbacks and other DBs who are going to come up and tackle. And Mike Hughes might be the best tackling cornerback I have. I mean, this guy came out of nowhere. I was scared that he was going to be burnt toast all year long, and he has been a revelation. Now, D. Alfred in the slot, we could get a little better there, but Mike Hughes, opposite of AJ Terrell, has been a godsend for this Falcons defense.
And what about Clark Phillips?
And Clark Phillips comes in.
He's starting to get some run, and he's made some plays. I think it was the Chiefs game. He made a few plays. Yep. He made the interception against the Panthers late in that game.
He should have ran that ball in. I'd be dancing. I mean, I don't know why.
He needed to hit his first 30 bird.
I can't.
I know it. But that's him thinking.
You take the butt chewing. You score your touchdown. Get a flag. Take your helmet off. Let the camera see you, and then go get your butt chewed out. I mean, this It's like his first touch. I mean, this is crazy. I couldn't believe it.
And Raheem Morris being a player's coach.
He would have been like, we got on him. Clark knows he's not supposed to do that, but I love it for the kid.
And then he would have got a game ball after
Yeah,
the game.
Exactly.
He should have scored that touchdown.
Big Low, but looking at this Seahawks game, because it is a big game, definitely not one you can sleep on. The Seahawks got a very good offense. What do you see as the keys to this game and the Falcons getting a 4th straight victory?
Well, so I don't know if y'all noticed at the end of the game last week, we actually started running some man coverage, and when we did, we got 2 interceptions in our last 3 possessions. Now, I don't know if it's a situation where we'll run man coverage as much as we did last week at the end of the week, because I mean, Geno Smith, he's been airing that thing out. You got DK Metcalf who could take the top off the defense. So I feel like they're going to try to make sure that they cut those big plays down to a minimal. And I mean, look, one thing about this particular game is the Seahawks so far this season, I think they're like 27th in the league in rushing, and they're terrible at stopping the run. We're getting pretty doggone good at running. So look, I'm thinking that we're going to have a balanced attack, and that we're going to hit them in the mouth, and then we're going to fly over their head, Bo.
Heavy dosage of Tyler Algier and Bijan Robinson. Yeah. I have to say it. I mean, is the pass rush going to get there? I know what you said about the cover 3 shells, and we are doing that. Our Falcons defense is susceptible to the run, and we give up short passes because that's just what the defense calls for. You give up a short pass, come up and make the tackle. So why hang on to the ball? But this Seattle offensive line sucks. Flat out sucks. It is so bad. If we can't get it going now, and I hear what you're saying, Geno Smith, he is mobile. He's hard to tackle. Geno Smith, I got a buddy who's a Seahawks fan, and I've been going back and forth with him this week. He's more down on Geno Smith than I am. I love Geno Smith. I think Geno Smith's a bad dude. Like, I think Geno Smith is a good quarterback. Like, I don't know why everybody hates the guy. Like, I think Geno Smith's a good quarterback, and the Seahawks just aren't helping him out. That offensive line sucks. If we can't get a single sack against the Seahawks, I've got concerns. I might drive up to Flowery Branch. I might get in a 3-point stand. I mean, I don't know. It's a terrible offensive line. Like, I just did something for the site on it, and I was looking things up. They have a bottom 10 guard and pressures. The other one is bottom 15. The worst tackle in the league in terms of pressures. And then the other tackle is bottom 20. I mean, we got to get it going. If it's not now, it's never coming.
Look,
calm me down. Talk me off the ledge.
There's nothing I can say. Because at the end of the day, think about it. The last, 2-3 weeks, we've been playing teams who, they've been on the struggle bus when it comes to offensive line.
I know.
See, this is what happens, though, right? Like, this is when we get the Matthew Judon, Vic Beasley game where he has 4.5 sacks, and we're all convinced he's an all-pro. And then we're just like, like one of those is coming where we're like, it's back. And it's not really back.
It was against a tackle who's out of the league next week.
You're playing a 4th-string tackle, but
Adrian Claiborne, you remember that?
Yeah.
Cowboys.
Oh my God, that was unbelievable. Yeah, I'm trying to think of the last thing that I wanted to ask you, but I can't really it can't really come to mind.
What's the score? And why is it 40-10?
Oh man, I will say 31-20.
I like that. Falcons cover. Big Low. Not gambling advice, but
they cover.
I'll
go. I'll do it too. I'll go 34-27. I feel like it always comes down to a last-second game, but instead Kirk Cousins caps it off with the touchdown pass to Drake London, the guy that we talked about. We let off
Big
the
Draco.
Show.
I mean,
he's gonna cap it off. It's gonna be like a 40-yarder, a little 40-yard touchdown pass. It's gonna be a good schemed up play, kind of like we saw in Kansas City that first drive. Some sort of like wheel route out of the slot, touchdown. Drake London, ball game. Falcons 5-2 with a huge game looming against the Bucs after that. If they can win this one, the Bucs got the Ravens. I don't like to look too far ahead. I love doing it. But the Ravens play the Bucs this week, and then we go and play them. Hypothetically, that goes win-loss in our favor this week. That game in Tampa Bay is for a massive lead in the NFC South. Essentially a 3-game lead halfway through the season, which is pretty unreal. But Big Low, thanks so much for joining us as always. You are awesome. We'll see you next week.